Morning and welcome to Thought for the Day for Thursday the 18th of June. This morning I'm going to reflect upon just two verses at the start of today's Gospel reading, and they follow directly on from Christopher's reading yesterday. So Jesus says, "Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." So, if yesterday's passage perhaps spoke more to those of us who are perhaps struggling or worrying with finances at the moment, I think this passage is a real challenge for those of us lucky to have money left at the end of the week. And Jesus says to us, "Sell your possessions and give to the poor." Don't we live in such a materialistic society where aspirations are so often revolved around working your way up the ladder at work, getting promotions, increasing your salary so you can buy more things, have more things, go to more places? But here, Jesus is saying, sell your possessions and give to the poor. It couldn't be more different. The contrast is so striking. This verse is so countercultural, and it's a huge challenge to many of us. Are we giving generously enough? And one of the things I've been reflecting upon the last few months, whilst we've had so much taken away from us, what is it that we've been missing the most? Is it the material things? Or is it actually the things which money can't buy? And from my feelings, from hearing many people around, it's really been those elements of relationship, of being together, of sharing a cup of tea and a chat, of being face to face with each other, of that physical touch, of giving and receiving a hug. Those expressions of love and relationship are the treasures which many of us have missed so much over these last months. And I wonder if some of us may have been forced to really reevaluate what's important in life. Perhaps as a society we haven't realised that actually we don't need these material things quite as much as we perhaps thought we did. I mean, yes, of course we need food and clothes and all those essential things, but there are many things which we strive for which aren't quite so essential. Maybe we're learning exactly where our treasures really lie, that being in love and relationship. But whether we're perhaps struggling to make ends meet or whether we're lucky enough to have a little bit extra, the first verse in this passage, I'm just going to read it again because hopefully it can bring each one of us a little bit of comfort. Jesus says, "Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom." Isn't this awesome that God has already given us the kingdom, his kingdom? And when the Pharisees asked Jesus when the kingdom would come, he replied, "The kingdom of God is within you." And some translations use the kingdom of God is among you. So Jesus is the king, our king of this kingdom, which has already come. Yes, it will be coming in more fulfillment in later years, but for now we have the kingdom living with us in our hearts. And Jesus taught us a lot about the kingdom, and he taught us what we need to do to have access to the kingdom here on earth right now. So the most important thing is to love our God and to love our neighbour as ourselves. And then he goes on with much more teaching. We mustn't be judging each other or judging each other's situations or circumstances. We must be looking out for the vulnerable, the weak, the ill, the poor. And we must be serving others with generosity and love, sharing what God has blessed us with. This is such a topsy-turvy kingdom. And one thing I've reflected upon before is the currency of this kingdom is not gold and silver. The currency of God's kingdom is love, humility, and time. And in God's kingdom, Jesus promises to provide everything that we need. So if we're struggling to make ends meet, the challenge is to trust God that he will provide for us and not to worry too much. Now that is a huge, huge challenge. And the challenge for those of us who are lucky enough to have more money than we need, the challenge is to be giving as generously as we possibly can be. So wherever we might feel we are at the moment, I just want to leave us thinking about this idea of treasure. Where our treasure is, there our heart will also be. So the question to each one of us this morning is, where is our treasure? Have a great day.